Hello and welcome. Today I'm very excited to be sitting with two photographers, Anush Babajanian, who is one of the most talented photographers in Armenia today and also the co-founder of the 4+ cooperative, one of the most active photographic cooperatives in Armenia today, and John Stanmeyer. Those who know photography probably know him very well and wouldn't need an introduction, but just to put things in perspective, co-founder of the 7 Photo Agency, multiple World Press Photo winner, a National Geographic photographer, also the winner of the Robert Capa Award, and I could go on, but I didn't memorize everything. Okay, well, welcome to ＳիվիլՆեթ. You guys have been collaborating and you're here because of a very specific program, a workshop in Gyumri. Anush, I'm going to ask you, how did that come about?
This came about through John Stanmeyer's desire to do something in Armenia, to be actively involved in life here, in community here. And that came about 1 year after he did a story here for the National Geographic magazine, which John will tell you more about. But after that, he wanted to collaborate somehow with us, with the 4+ Documentary Photography Center, and we co-organized this workshop in Gyumri in March. Mm-hmm.
So it was a 1-week workshop, and the participants were from all over. It wasn't something that only Armenian participants took part in. It was an international workshop. And why in Gyumri? And also tell us more about the process.
Well, as Anush was saying, I was, well, maybe she didn't say completely, but I was deeply moved by my time here last year in April and May. And a deep affinity sort of came over me, as if I'd been here before, but physically hadn't. There was a tremendous talent here in Armenia that I didn't know existed. I love to do education and outreach, and so I do a lot of workshops all over the world, and I thought, well, let's bring a really brilliant, beautiful global community of photographers to a place that we'd spent a lot of time in, which was Gyumri. We use Gyumri as the base for the National Geographic story that's coming out next month, and then we through 4+, we co-sponsored 2 Armenian photographers completely gratis to give them equal opportunity, and they were truly 2 of the most brilliant photographers. Everyone was great in the group, really talented people. We had a photographer from Poland, the UK, Portugal, Belgium, United States, where else? Really?
And these are somehow established, not starters, established.
No, none of them were starters. A few were early beginners, so to speak, but not starters. No, these are, the workshops I teach are usually related to mid-career photographers looking for inspiration, sort of a push, a guidance for seeing things differently, and we wrap it around social media and communication. So it was a really beautiful event. It was 9 days. We used Gyumri in Villa Cars, a beautiful old restored hotel there, as the base, and everyone deeply went into the fabric of the culture, and everyone in Gyumri and the outskirts of Gyumri was just so welcoming and so kind. It was really a really powerful event.
Because it's, in my mind, somehow Gyumri is not the primary setting for a workshop. Usually, similar international workshops there in Istanbul, European countries.
No, you're missing it. No, Gyumri is the place. Yeah. It's it is visual. It is lyrical. It is poetic. It is giving, and very kind people. There's narratives and stories everywhere. I mean, remember, there's stories everywhere you go.
Absolutely.
And the backdrop of Gyumri, the history of Gyumri, and also to give it wasn't maybe huge, but I hope it was purposeful, an economic injection to the community. We hired people. We had 14 people on staff.
Fixers, translators,
a great injection to the food community, and taxi drivers, cars and drivers. I mean, probably all in all, We were able to employ about 30 people for 9 days. So
and what brought you to Armenia first time? I'm assuming it was an assignment?
It was a story for National Geographic that comes out next month called Ghostlands, and looking at the Armenian genocide 100 years later, really is not one specific focus, but what genocide means to all of us today and what it means to us as a collective humanity going forward in the future. It's part of the Out of Eden Walk project that I've been working on for the last 3 years, where my colleague Paul Salopek and I are traveling along really the human bone or genome trail of our collective humanity. As we walked out of Africa some 60,000 years ago, we've walked through most of Ethiopia, all of Djibouti, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Palestine, Israel, Turkey, bits of Armenia, Georgia, and now we are in Kazakhstan.
And did you find bits of that trail here in Armenia?
Well, again, we used the Anatolia region, which is where Paul walked through, as the sort of the fulcrum for the story. So it wasn't looking just at one element per se of what happened 100 years ago. It was using it as an overall arching theme of what it means to us as a collective humanity. We're a global thinking magazine. We're not a political magazine. It was using it as an overall arch to understand, because these issues are affecting us all over the planet today.
And Anush, what's it like to host a workshop of this caliber in Armenia and more so in Gyumri? Like, I'm talking probably more organization-wise. What were the difficulties?
Yeah.
I'm sure there were many.
Well, as organizers, we of course dealt with the more logistical part of things. Myself and my colleague Nazek Armenakyan, we both worked on this very actively. John was the trainer, he was the general organizer, bringing things together, and we dealt on things and issues on ground, finding fixers, arranging transportation, all the applications and interviews with those guys, and amazing young people working in Gyumri. We had 12 of them working with each participant. So all of that, and arranging with the wonderful Villa Kars, which is in Gyumri, and of course has the hotels in Yerevan as well, and they're very nice, always extremely welcoming. So it was a lot of running around and working, but also extremely interesting and rewarding, because our photographers were every one of them had a special experience, not only with the Gyumri people and the atmosphere, but also with the villages nearby. Everyone's so welcoming. 14 stories came out of this, 14 very different stories by 14 different photographers. So that's also hopefully a return for Gyumri, another visual kind of return, where it's not only the earthquake that's being discussed, not only the genocide and its consequences, because Gyumri is so close to the border,
current
but everything
economic
else.
Challenges in Gyumri.
Yeah,
yes.
but
all
everything else, the good sides, the happy, the poverty as well, but some diverse discussion, about the region, not only the city.
We were able to bring through Anush and Nazik's tremendous work. I mean, she's being polite. It was a tremendous amount of work that she did, and we all did, but it was really beautiful to be able to come here and make it run, and it's because of 4+. But we were really able to herald to the whole world for a beautiful 9-10 day period the essence that is Gyumri, and on a very, very large global level. I was publishing on my own social media feeds that have about 250,000 followers. Once in a while I'd go into the Nat Geo's feed and publish to 44 million people. It was really a pleasure to be able to share to everyone the beauty of your country, the narrative of people's lives, and really a fostering and a growth for understanding that this is truly one of the most brilliant, beautiful cultures and countries on the planet. And I've been around, and I can tell you that Armenia is not just a special place for me. It is really one of the most magical places and beautiful places on earth.
And a bit of a general question to address to both of you. What's the potential, photographic potential in Armenia, and as far as professional photography goes? Like, talents?
Well,
I've been
John
hearing
just
that
went
there's a
through
lot of
portfolio review just yesterday, so you know all about it.
We had around 50 some photographers yesterday at a cafe art gallery. The name slips my mind. Right?
I was hoping to attend myself.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I've been watching the Armenian photographic community here really since you inspired me to it, because Anush is one of the key photographers within this community, and there is. Look, I'm not going to, be smoke and mirrors to you. I'm going to tell you like it is. There's a tremendous amount of talent here, an epic level of talent. It is unfortunate, and that's what I'm playing an active role. I'm going to play a continued active role in heralding, beyond the borders of Armenia, the true beauty and power of Armenian photographers. It's all about opportunity, right? You can have a tremendous talent and never be heard. And that's unfortunate for many. But now is an incredibly important time that we call it social media, but in many ways it really should be called self-publishing. Now is the time for Armenians to grab a hold and cherish and nurture their brilliance, their talent, and use self-publishing, use social media, scream to the highest peaks that you can, eloquently, poetically, beautifully, in kindness. Of what you can do, because I can come in here and spend 2 months, as I did last year, and I'm just touching the surface. But you are here, you know the narrative of your story. It should be Armenians telling that narrative of their story. And that is the power that will spread from here and will bring opportunity and bring, yes, economic revenue. It's not going to be gigantic, but it's step, kitch, right?
Yes.
And if you are relentless and you're a dog on a bone, chewing it, beauty and giving will come back to you.
It's part of photography, right? That
it's always
character,
been.
that bone that you have.
It's always been. Same in your business, same in what you're doing here. It's non-stop passion, engagement, not sitting on your bum and waiting for it to happen. You have to go. And the Armenians can do it, and I think they can do it as well as anybody. I think they can actually sometimes do it better.
Anusha, I'm going to ask you, as a photographer working from Armenia, what are the main challenges that you face?
As a photographer.
As a photographer.
Okay, well, you might know the answer to, because you are also a photographer, although you don't always act like it, but you're an amazing photographer as well. Did I make you shy right there? Okay. Okay, as a photographer, I think the challenges are the same as everywhere else. I don't think Armenia has any particular additional challenges. Some people like to say that we're kind of off the radar, like far from everywhere. And okay, it requires maybe some more an additional effort to get yourself physically communicating with people who are decision makers. But again, all of that can be worked around, and it's just about having specific directions in your life, decisions, and following up to your decisions, what you're working on, and where you're going with it,
Yes, of course.
To know what you're doing and listen to yourself.
I'd like to add a little bit that I noticed yesterday. Self-esteem.
Lack of or too much of?
No, lack of. You need to realize your self-worth and be proud of it. Not just because I'm Armenian. I mean, that's the easy part. Proud of what you create and believe that that it's strong. It's a pillar to hold on to, and it's a pillar and a beauty that needs to be seen. And again, it's this sort of relentless pursuit. But that's like in anything. If you're a vegetable seller, a banker, a TV producing company, or a photographer, or a farmer, it takes relentless desire and a belief in oneself. And there were a few photographers yesterday. We were talking about the art world and how to be seen in the art world, and there was a thought of, and I heard this a couple of times, of, oh, we're just Armenia, and I'm not as famous. And all these people who came before us and who are here now today and that will be in the future became, yes, through a lot of serendipity and good luck, but a lot of hard work. And you have to believe in yourself, and you have to be passionate. And now, more than any time in all the history of our collective humanity, you have the ability to communicate on a global level And if you do it eloquently and purposefully and passionately, the cream rises to the top. And now is the time for Armenians to embrace that reality and fly with it.
And there are a lot of photographers from the past, let's say Soviet photographers, who've kind of been lost to history in Armenia, to us. So you discover someone's work and then you see it's amazing, and then you wonder why isn't this person better known? And this is something that has like really amazed me in Beirut, because in Beirut, everyone who knows about photography says Armenians, the Armenian community established the photographic community in Lebanon. And that same goes like for all of the Middle East, Turkey as well. And I sometimes wonder what we should do to unearth these archives and these lost photographers, because also that relation to the generation before you can mean a lot for people who are trying to go forward.
Yeah. Well, what John is doing, for example, you know, and he's only beginning with it. Yesterday's portfolio review was a huge step in all this, in the act of encouraging and letting the people, making the people believe that they can make themselves known, and they don't have to be in the background of things. And well, concerning our wonderful photographers who established the photo studios in Turkey, in Western Armenia, like Istanbul, Kars, Diyarbakir, everywhere, and maybe in Beirut. There's just one example that I can think of very well. It's the Lusadaran Foundation, yes, which has a wonderful photography archive, and they have a website, lusadaran.org, which shows all the archive online, where they have everything listed in detail, biographies of Armenian photographers who worked in and established photo studios in Istanbul, Beirut, Middle East, I think,
Cairo,
Syria as well.
A lot of,
Cairo,
yes.
yeah. Yes. I mean, there are people seriously working on this.
That's very good to know. And so in conclusion, tomorrow you're giving a talk at the AGBU Center on the topic of self-publishing and media.
Yeah, we're going to look at, I'm going to present 11 years of stories I've done for National Geographic, and then expand upon it about how we communicate today, and how we can share the issues that we're engaged in, not to just ourselves and our family and our friends. That's actually, forget about that. It's beautiful, but you want to expand it to the entire planet. So we're going to share a bit about that, and give a lot of love and ideas and passions. And I hear we have quite a bit of a turnout. One of your colleagues is going to be here tomorrow.
Yes.
I hope it'll be interesting. It's actually a presentation I just gave 2 weeks ago in Washington, D.C. at National Geographic for the Nat Geo Live speaker series. So I hope it'll be interesting, and I hope we can share some fire and ideas. But really, the most important thing is that we not just inspire, but we actively turn on the lights of engagement among the community of storytellers here, whether you're a filmmaker, a writer, a blogger, a photographer, a journalist, or just a human that has a story. Everyone has a story. And now is the time to be sharing that story. And that's so much how you make not only your community, but you make the community that you're in aware of in a global nature. And it doesn't cost you anything. It takes your time, and time is valuable, but time also given has rewards that come in return.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here today, and I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, and I hope it was inspiring.